Let's move on to our next one. We got Kanye versus Lil Wayne. Um, I think Todd should start on this one, to be honest. I'm interested on his thoughts.
Yeah. Um, I don't really have like a number for what tracks I picked, but I picked Kanye, of course. I think the impact that Kanye's, I mean, you look at College Dropout through his last run he did in 2018 is like, where is there a bad album in there that Kanye's released? I don't think there is one. I don't think he's ever really had a bad album, maybe besides
Jesus is
Jesus
King.
is King, which that
Yeah.
take that for what it is. But that's like a transition period in my opinion. But I look at Kanye's. I just prefer the beats more. I think he's more versatile as an artist than Lil Wayne is, honestly. Um, if you look at what Kanye did with hip hop with 808s and Heartbreak, but you could also say we wouldn't have that without Lil Wayne too, So that's where you run into a little bit of an issue with who you could pick. I just chose Kanye mostly because I grew up more listening to him than Lil Wayne. I think he has a better discography if you take each album and look at it. Like I honestly don't enjoy Lil Wayne's last two albums besides maybe a few tracks. Like I liked Mona Lisa with Kendrick that he had, but Funeral, I guess you could say I like the Griselda features, but I feel like it's kind of become like Eminem. Like these albums are just so long and they're filled with songs. Like how many songs are on that album? Like 20 songs or something like that.
Yeah.
20, almost
Yeah.
30 something.
Yeah, almost 30 songs, and it's like that's cool if like you're a diehard Wayne fan, but I'm not really. So, like Austin said earlier when we were talking about Eminem, like I feel like it's better if you release a shorter album, like between 7 and 10 tracks, because that's less room for filler, more room for a fan. Maybe that's not into the artist. They see that album, they're gonna more likely to listen to it because there's not 100 tracks on it.
Yeah.
But overall, Kanye, I think, has done more for culture in general too, and the genre of music of hip hop because he's been working. He does this thing where he'll take a newer artist and he'll work with them to boost himself. If you look at the stuff he did with 6ix9ine, Lil Pump, like those are new rappers that he's working with. If you like it or not, that's whatever. Kanye's still getting his name out there. He's getting a track out the younger artists that younger people are listening to. So that's how I think he kind of stays relevant.
I mean, Lil Wayne's doing the same thing, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lil Wayne killed some great verses the past couple years on other people's songs.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
Lil Wayne's
definitely
been
think
more in
he's
touch
not.
with the younger audience and younger rappers more than I think Kanye has, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that too, honestly. I mean,
Wow.
even
I don't know.
Because he's
I'm
got
that's
Little Baby and Ellie Choppa features, and I
Yeah.
don't know, he's just out the ass in the last 2 years as he's been featuring on anybody.
like when I think of Kanye, I think of him like as an artist is like everything he does is art, whereas Wayne I just look at as like an MC. So to me, I'm always more likely to go towards the person that's more about the presentation of the art and stuff.
Yeah, that's what drives my argument for picking Kanye in this too. Is he's just more of a
Yeah,
rounded artist than Wayne is. I think Wayne
he
uses
does,
a lot of filler.
yeah, like he does so much for the culture, I believe. And I'm not saying Lil Wayne hasn't; he definitely has. But I just think overall Kanye is a way better artist, and his collaborations are way better too. I think what is Watch the Throne? Like that's one of the best albums ever in hip hop ever. So Kanye wins that for me.
I think as far as who's impacted the culture, I would say both have made nearly equal contributions in their own way. Because if you look at what Lil Wayne has done, I mean, he uplifted the South and New Orleans and the whole street and underground, street scene, kind of living through that crunk era of hip hop and kind of transcending it and bringing all kinds of artists along with him, and through Young Money and Cash Money being in its prime at that time. I just think that I think he really did something for. Sorry, my mind is going crazy, but basically what I'm saying is, I feel like Lil Wayne invented a side of hip hop with the whole mixtape, with the whole what eventually became, more intense records, drill records, things like that. Just that whole underworld scene of street hip hop that I think has kind of blossomed into such a bigger thing now with artists like NBA YoungBoy and guys like that who are, ultimately influenced by Lil Wayne. Whereas Kanye has both influenced artists with his performances, but also with his production, with just how different he approached sampling and chopping samples and arranging songs early in his career, and how that evolved to more electronic based things and 808s, how influential that was, how big of a statement My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was, and how that sort of elevated just how massive a statement a hip hop album could make. And then just everything that he's made, even with Yeezus and, the contributions he's made the past 7 years since. I really feel like Kanye has redefined numerous times within his reign of what hip hop can be, whereas Lil Wayne just basically invented a whole new side of it that would have eventually been found one way or the other. So I think they both have tremendous legacies of just expanding the culture and rethinking what we can do. But all that being said, I think Kanye is a superior musician and rapper and songwriter and album and really everything. I mean, hit for hit here, I had him 18-2, just a complete landslide.
Yeah.
And the thing with me is Lil Wayne has always had his moments and good songs, and both of them are instantly a presence on whatever track they're on. That's a fact. That's undisputable. They're probably bigger than just about any other artist you could say that of. And that's, I think, something that shouldn't be overlooked, because they both can pretty much command attention through doing, whatever. Lil Wayne is arguably the king of just corny, great, ridiculous, funny punchlines. Kanye just does outlandish the song he had last week is an example of just Kanye not giving a fuck. And that's the thing that makes both of them great to me, is they're just both artists that come from a very specific background. They know who they are, and they just kind of do their thing, and they don't really worry too much about public perception, and they redefine boundaries. I just think that Kanye is just more talented, and for me a full Lil Wayne album has always been a hard sell. I've never been into his full length albums. I really just think he's a good singles artist and great as a feature up to this day. I think he's good on other people's songs, but I'm not a huge fan of Lil Wayne's own music, even though I did grow up with him in the late 2000s, and the Carter 3 is something that I think a lot of us remember from that time. But ultimately, Kanye all the way for me. That's my favorite, probably, artist in history.
Yeah, I agree with Nick in a very large sense. Mine wasn't as big as a landslide. I have 13 for Kanye, 7 for Wayne, just because I think when Wayne did have a hit back off the Carter 3, it deserves recognition.
Oh yeah,
I also mentioned when we were tallying these up that My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy doesn't really win a lot of those rounds for me. I love the album when it came out. I love the impact it had, but personally, I have overplayed it. I've listened to it too much, and that album's just been basically shoved on your throat since it came out. I think Wayne is just, I wanted to give him an underdog chance in this.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give him the vote of the song I just enjoyed more and had more fun with. And that's what I go to Wayne for, is fun. As of recently, going to Kanye is fun, but going to Lil Wayne recently has become more serious, and he's kind of getting back on the wagon with what he used to be. But
Yeah.
I think Wayne is too far gone at this point. I don't think we're going to get a classic project out of Wayne anytime soon. That being said, I think Kanye is on the downward spiral as well.
Yeah.
But, that could always do a 180 because nobody really knows what's going on with Kanye. Whereas Lil
Wash
Wayne's
Us in the
trajectory.
Blood, and I had hope again.
What was that?
You dropped Wash Us in the Blood with Travis, and I had hope again.
Yeah. I have hope with that. I like Ego Death. I like the new song with Ty Dolla $ign, but
Kanye will always.
is it going to be a classic? That's debatable. For the first time ever, Kanye dropped an album that wasn't going to be considered a classic with Jesus is King. So he kind of lost that status, and now it's kind of up in the air. It'll be a classic meme album, and we'll come back to it, and we'll laugh at it. But as far as another college dropout or another Yeezus or another Life is Pablo, I think that's up in the air right now, as well as Kanye's plans for his next album.
Yeah.
But yeah, when Wayne really does want to have fun and he gets a good track and a good ensemble of people together, I think he really does excel. That being said, I gotta give it to Kanye all the way around, just because, like Todd was saying, Kanye just brings this sense of artistry. And in the last few rounds, I've kind of brought this up. If you can bring this sense of grandeur and artistry and royalty to your music, I vibe with it more, because it's you feeling yourself and you're getting into the mood that you have to be, where nobody can touch you and nobody can really reach your level.
I think it's also cool when you think of their humble beginnings, either of them, and then you see how far they've climbed through just every rank
Yeah.
of pop and really taken it to the helm. And you see how they've now impacted the landscape so much and then brought on other huge artists. Lil Wayne bringing in Drake, the artist of the 2010s, Kanye bringing in all kinds of people who have gotten big as well. And, it just goes to show that if you really do have a certain niche that you can just work well enough around enough people, you can really change how the genre of a certain music genre looks. And that's what Wayne did with the Carter 3 and pop rap and street rap and all that dirty South and all that different stuff from that part of hip hop. And then that's what Kanye did throughout the 2000s and 2010s with all of his efforts, which, I mean, everyone, and that's the thing with Kanye, I don't think you can point to too many musical artists, period, except for guys like David Bowie and shit, where it's just each album, there's just so much behind what it is, and it's just so well acclaimed and so influential and just, different, a reinvention of self, a reflection of, who he was at that time. I think there are hardly fewer discographies as fascinating to delve into, discuss, analyze, think about, just experience and be part of than Kanye West. And, that alone really just, I think, pairs him well against most musicians, honestly.
Yeah. Agreed.
Definitely.
Bosh,
I haven't
you wanna
said
give your
anything during this whole conversation yet, because
All
I
right,
have
I'm
a
waiting.
bit to say, honestly.
Here we go. It's the Bosch train time.
All right, I just want to start off by saying Kanye and Wayne are the two most influential artists on hip hop today. Aside from maybe Gucci Mane, you could throw him in there too, but every artist in the 2010s can be traced back to Kanye and Wayne.
Agreed.
Like Kanye influenced the likes of Travis Scott, Kid Cudi, Drake, and then Wayne also influenced Drake a little bit, but he also influenced like the Young Thugs and the Futures
And
the
Kendrick.
Lil Baby.
Yeah, Kendrick is a child of all.
Kendrick was influenced by Wayne too.
The most, honestly, because like even back then when he was releasing mixtapes, he sounded like a Wayne clone.
Oh yeah, he loved Lil Wayne.
He made a whole mixtape rapping over Carter 3 beats.
Wasn't that C4?
C4,
Yeah.
2008, same year. Yep. What a time.
Yeah, so hip hop would not be the same without Kanye and Wayne today. But at the end of the day, going back to pretty much all of your points, Lil Wayne at the end of the day is an MC and Kanye West is an artist. So I got to give it to Kanye West, and I have him winning 17-3 against Wayne.
Damn.
Landslide I got there.
That was your landslide? All right. That was
my
worth it.
landslide.
Because you said it was 16-4, I think, or did you say 17-3 yesterday?
17-3. But
Cool.
yeah, like all you guys were saying, every single era, Kanye comes through with so many iconic songs, and every one of his albums like stood the test of time. The College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, and then when 808s and Heartbreak came, that changed hip hop forever. Like that pretty much started the trend of like auto-tuned singing.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
paved the way for artists like Drake and Travis to come forward. And then
Absolutely.
the artistic statement he made with Dark Twisted Fantasy, and then Yeezus came, and that really challenged what hip-hop could be sonically. And even though people like Death Grips might have been doing it a little before Kanye released Yeezus, but when he released that album, it challenged like the sonic direction of hip-hop so much. And every single one of Kanye's album, he has just never missed.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
during his first like 5 albums, every single song was a hit. But during the latter half of his discography, he became less focused on making hits and more focused on making kind of like what Beyonce did with Lemonade, as I was saying, a coherent project that from start to finish has no bad tracks.
Yeah.
But with Wayne, he didn't really start having that run of excellent albums until the first Carter came out. Like Lil Wayne's first 3 albums, The Block is Hot, Lights Out, 500 Degrees, those had some great stuff on it, but no one really talks about those records that much when talking about the great Wayne records, like the first 4 Carter albums. I mean, when the Carter 3 came out, that was like definitely the biggest album of that year. And Wayne's entire run in the late 2000s with features and stuff, and how he was releasing these excellent mixtapes. Like, honestly, if you want to find out who Wayne is as an MC, don't listen to his albums. I advise you to check out 2 of his mixtapes, No Ceilings and A Drought 3. Those albums truly show what Wayne can do as an MC with punchlines and metaphors and crazy, like, out of nowhere bars. Like, those mixtapes truly show what kind of MC Wayne is.
Which dedication did you say? 3?
What'd you say?
What dedication?
The Drought.
Oh, the Drought and No Ceilings, you said?
And No Ceilings, yes.
Right, I'm going to check them out after this.
But when it comes to Wayne albums, the Carter 2 is definitely the one where I'd say he has the best bars out of every album he's released.
Yeah, Go DJ won that round seamlessly for me. I couldn't put anything above Go DJ.
That's like incredible. I love that record.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I'd say when it comes to being an MC, I honestly put Wayne a little above Kanye. But when it comes to making full coherent projects, when you mix everything together, bars, storytelling, production, just crafting the perfect song, Kanye does that much better than Wayne. And honestly, Kanye's music has had a much larger effect on my life as a whole than Wayne. Like, Kanye, he's pretty much been my favorite hip-hop artist since I started getting into the genre when I was a kid. I've been following Kanye since he first came out with A College Dropout. I didn't start following Wayne until around the Carter 3 era when he was everywhere.
Yeah, same.
Now, fun fact, my first CD, I came down to a choice between 808s and the Carter 3. I only had money for one. So I picked Kanye just because I had known Kanye from, a few years before with Gold Digger and just other songs off Graduation. I had known him just being around and growing up in Chicago in the mid 2000s, where everybody knew of Kanye, even someone as young as I. And I just thought it was really cool to, buy a Kanye West CD for the first time and have that be my first CD. And that album really changed my life and probably defined much of my taste going forward. And I always wonder sometimes how different things might have been if I had bought the Carter 3 instead. But and then you got.
Oh yeah.
This is my favorite album of all time, and it was one of the first hip hop albums I ever bought, along with those other ones that I mentioned before. But this is the album that made me decide that rap music was a genre I really wanted to get into, and it made me think of what rap music could be in the future. Like, this is the album that gave me true hope for the genre when I was a kid, and had me thinking the future of rap is definitely going to be very bright if people like Kanye keep coming along and keep pushing the boundaries.
Oh yeah.
That's well said.
They did.
I got that.
Hey.
I would go pull my Kids See Ghost vinyl out and my Ye vinyl, but I'm not
I
about
don't have
to.
any vinyl, but I have like 4 Kanye CDs.
I actually remember the day you bought 808s and Heartbreaks on CD.
So yeah, despite Wayne being an excellent MC, I'm not knocking him at all. Wayne and Kanye are both in my top 5 of all time. But at the end of the day, Kanye is my favorite artist of all time, and I can honestly say my life wouldn't be the same without his music.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so we want to take a vote? Kanye?
Kanye!
Lil Wayne? Yep.